How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel. This is my first ever point of view video in my Mazda MX-5 NA. So a first generation Mazda MX-5 1.8S. This is obviously the first ever attempt I've ever had at doing a point of view video, so please bear with me. I'm sorry if all you can see right now is my stunning moustache that I'm doing from November. But yes, just to refresh your memories, I bought this about 2 months ago. I've barely driven it. The whole plan is to turn it into a kind of a track car for the road, if I haven't told you that already. But yes, what I'm going to be doing today is driving some very nice roads to a work event thing that I'm doing, so I thought I might as well enjoy those roads, show you guys a point of view of the car and show you what it's like to drive a Mazda MX-5 NA. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. But without further ado, let's get into driving. So I've already gotten into the car. I'm actually at Topgolf in Watford at the moment because this is my starting point for the drive. But as you get into the car, it's a little bit of a fall in, I think is the best way of describing it. As a 6-foot male, you don't really step into the car, it's a fall in. Apologies if the angle's not very good. I spent this morning trying to work out what angle would be best. Oh, I've just pulled my muff off as well, 2 seconds. So apologies if anything sounds or looks weird. It's all just because this is my first ever video doing this, as I said. So let's start the car up. So let's get out of here, let's go for a little drive. So the car pulls off the line very nicely. It's a very easy car to drive at low revs is what I've found so far. Oh, that's one thing that I really still need to get used to. So rather than indicating with the left stick, as most cars seem to here in the UK, because this is a Japanese car, I know it's a UK bought car, but it's a Japanese company, the indicator is over here on the right hand side, which does make life a little bit more interesting. You have no idea what you're doing if you're moving from the Polo to this car. Right, so the route that it's taking me is not the route that I actually want to go because it hasn't got the fun roads. So I'm going to take a different route. So obviously this car is quite low. One thing that is a bit sketchy on it is going over speed bumps. So here I am going over some bumps right now, trying very hard not to scrape the bottom of the car. So yeah, that's one thing to definitely pay attention to. This is with standard ride height as well. Another sketchy thing as well about it right now is the fact that the rear dampers are broken. So I've said that in a few of my videos before, but the rear dampers are completely non-existent. They're not working at all. So that does make driving the car a little bit more interesting and can make people feel quite sick when they're in the passenger seat because it does like to bounce quite a bit. So it's an unfortunate truth. In fact, look, if I hit this a little bit too hard, the whole car just bounces back up. I don't know if you could feel that in the camera, but I could very much feel it in my head. Uh-oh, we're coming up on a learner. Can they get through that width restriction? Yes, they can. Fair play to them. Can I get through this width restriction? I can indeed. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Last thing I want to do is harass a learner driver when I'm out doing my POV video, because then I'll just get in loads of trouble from all the learner driving instructors that seem to follow me on YouTube. Welcome to all of you driving instructors out there. Right, let's get into the right hand lane here, get around this learner. See if we can snake this whole group of traffic here, see what I go on. One thing that is quite good about this car is that it zips off the line pretty well. It seems to make most of its power at the top end, which I'll try and explain to you later. But as you can see, it does like a good zip. As shown just there, zipping past that whole group of traffic, which made my life a little bit easier and a little bit quicker. The Polo doesn't quite do it in the same way. You have to be carrying more momentum. This car, you don't necessarily need the momentum. And that's not because it's got an amazing 0 to 60, but it does still get off the line pretty good. At speeds like this, so this is a 40 road, I'm out here doing 36 or something, it's very, very comfortable. You actually wouldn't, I was slightly worried that when buying this car, I would really feel uncomfortable when driving at sort of slow and low speeds. I thought it'd be a bit go-karty, where you're super close to the ground, feels like a bit of a tin can, and you're just, I don't know, uncomfortable. At these kinds of speeds, the car actually just sits very comfortably, and it sits in those lower rev ranges very happily. Right, so any content that I've included so far has just really been filler content. I'm coming down towards where it's telling me to take the M25, but I'm not going to take the M25. I'm going to go down a nice little country lane that it may take slightly longer to get to my destination, but I will have a lot more fun getting there is the plan. So let's go and do that. Oh, there's traffic on the way to it though, and that does not look good. Don't know what's going on here, boys. So it kind of went a bit wrong here. I was planning on missing out the M25, but this is not what I was hoping for. So I sat in that traffic for a really long time, and when I finally came to where the contraflow was, the road I wanted to take with all the nice lanes was shut. So I was pretty annoyed about this, but I had to go back and do the M25 instead. Apologies if this is actually a decent video and you guys like POV style videos, then I'll do it again and go and drive some nicer roads. So ignore that, there's a shitload of traffic. Let's go this way and see if we can... Oh look, another MX-5. Go on, my son. But this is the acceleration of the car. As you can see, you can properly rev it out, like fully go for it. Like, I'm getting to the sort of 5,000 rev ranges here. So now we're on the motorway on the M25. Let's get around this dude who's going quite slowly. And the car will very comfortably sit at 70 miles per hour. It won't miss a beat. Like, I'm sitting here, 5th gear, not quite 4,000 revs, and the car will happily sit here with not even like a 10th throttle, if you know what I mean. One thing that I would say is a bit less fun about driving the motorway in the MX-5 is the fact that there's very little noise deadening, and maybe something that I might work on in the future is making it a little bit more soundproof, because even though I obviously like being able to hear the sound of the engine and the exhaust and all that kind of stuff, it is a little bit sort of road noisy in here is the best way I can describe it. So yes, the car does accelerate very nicely. It sounds amazing in the car when you're accelerating as well, which is just pretty nuts. But yeah, I really like that part of the car. It's always a bit more of a performance every time the car accelerates, rather than it just being boring and uninteresting like in the Polo. Let's see if we can zip around this truck here. But in general, it's just a very comfortable to drive, chilled out car, although the speedometer goes a bit mental sometimes. It sort of goes up and down, left and right, side to side, like a roller coaster, in fact. Oh, it's the fuzz. Careful all. The Rozzers have pulled out right behind me. It's fine, because I was doing some good speed limit driving anyway, because I don't like getting harassed on YouTube for driving over or under the speed limit, all that good stuff. But one thing that I really haven't done yet in this car is take this hardtop roof off. So obviously above me I've got this hardtop roof, and I'd really like to take it off and see what it's like with the top down, but sadly I've bought this car at the wrong time of year, so it will be all the way through until next year before I probably take that roof off and drive the car around with it off. Let's hope for a good summer 2020 so that I get to enjoy this car, hopefully in its finished state with all of the mods and stuff done to it, with the top down. That will be an absolute dream. I don't think I'd want to drive the car with the top down around tracks, like on track days and stuff. That to me just seems a little bit sketchy, but I would definitely like to drive it around on days like this, like cruising along the road, just with girlfriend in the passenger seat or something. And you know what I said about the sound deadening? Right now, you can't really hear the engine in my position, but you can still hear the outside world. There's nothing I can do about that sort of sound yet. I'm going to have to work out a way to make that sort of sound disappear, because I don't really like how over the top the noise is. Nice little bit of country lanes here, in fact. So let's push on a tiny bit, not too hard, because someone could be going in the opposite direction, and we don't really have the best brakes in this car, so that's one thing that definitely needs to change. The brakes aren't very good. But yeah, I mean, the dampers on the rear make it quite difficult to push on fully. Let me stay out of the way of this UPS van. Oh, don't like going into ditches in this car. But on roads like this, in summer, it's just going to feel so amazing. Like so much fun. Just a shame that other people are on the road too. I really like this car. I just think it's so much fun to drive. See if I can find a couple of little bum bits to blip it around before I jump out at my destination, because I'm very close to my destination. This is a much quicker route to go than the routes that I've otherwise been taking, and that's sad because I haven't driven any of the really fun roads yet. Just feels so nice. And one of the coolest things still about this car, if I just try and get up here a little bit, that is just so swaggy. Don't tell me any differently. That is just the coolest thing about this car. Everything else is secondary. You pay your grand for this car just to have that. I'm not going to go into my destination immediately. I'm going to drive up here a little bit further. Maybe drive along this little country lane, and so that we can kind of feel what the car's like to drive on some more fun roads. So here we go, a nice national speed limit part of the road. So I don't know why this is national speed limit, because this is so sketchy. Like, you can't see around these corners at all. So any fast speeds is just putting yours and someone else's life on the line. But in this kind of situation, this is exactly how you want your MX-5. A nice autumnal country lane, nothing major to think about except for just driving the car, enjoying it around the corners, all that kind of stuff. Getting to hear that engine sound bouncing off the trees, coming towards someone here. Let me see if I can get out of the way of them. I do wonder if the car does actually have bad brakes, or if it's the case that the brake pads are never warmed up enough for me to use them properly. I don't really know what's going on there. Because the disc brakes are huge, so it does feel like they should be stopping the car, but they don't stop the car as quickly as I'd like them to. So a nice little bit of road we can definitely push on. Look at this, it's just so sick. This bit of road, and this kind of bit of road, is perfect for the MX-5. Coming up on another driver here. I think I might turn around and go back the other direction in a second when I find a point to turn around. It's just so cool. This is why you buy the Mazda MX-5. You buy it for these kinds of roads, where it just absolutely holds its own, minus the fact, of course, that my thing is awful. So let me just spin around here. I can't actually see behind me very well because of my really bad misting up of the car at the moment. Made it. I did very nearly just get stuck in some mud. Whew. But we're alive, and we're driving back down the road. Now I can go to my destination and kind of finish this video off. I really want to make sure I keep this exhaust note when I move forward with working on the exhaust and the engine and that kind of stuff. The exhaust note is really cool. Imagine that with the sound of a turbo whistling as well. That would just be so cool. So I'm hoping that I can keep that nice growly noise that it has at sort of the low revs. The higher revs, it gets a bit raspy and a little bit too much. Let's see if I can actually show you that. So that rasp at the top I don't really like, but at the lower revs, for sure, that grumble that it has, and every so often it hits a little pop or a bang and that kind of stuff, and yeah, that to me is very nice. I want to make sure I maintain that going forward. I think the British racing green on the car is really nice as well. I don't know why, it just really looks good. I think the red Mazda MX-5 is what I originally wanted, but as soon as I saw the green one, and I remembered obviously my Skoda was green too, it really just worked in my head. And now that I look at it, I'm like, yeah, this is definitely the colour of the car that I really wanted. I'm very happy to have gotten the British racing green. This has probably been an awful video, I do apologise. I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. I just wanted to try out this POV view. I know that you're probably seeing my mouth moving too much, or just my moustache sort of going around, but here you get to see a nice little grandiose entrance into this estate. Need to see if I can actually get over the speed bump, which I may not be able to. Everyone's out here being rich and not causing a fuss, and then they've just got this rogue kid and Mazda MX-5. So there, the bottom of the car scraped on the bump, which is never ideal. One thing I love about this car is the sound of that indicator, how when you indicate to the right or to the left, it's a very manual sound. It's like a dig rather than being an electronic sound. That I do find very enjoyable. Apparently the speed limit around here is 8 3/4 miles per hour. What? How do you manage 8 3/4 miles per hour? Anyway, with that, thank you very much for watching. Massive thank you to my patrons. As always, remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. But as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Whipping! Yes, mate. Whipping! Love it. It's so mad, isn't it? I love it. It's so mad. Love the headlights. Oh, they're chaos. Look. What is that? Right. You can actually put them up without any. I thought that might be like a manual. No, imagine just. No, it's good. Wait. I respect that heavily. Right, let's do the life admin.